Careful, it's hot.
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass.
Got your attention?
Damn! What is the biggest ick?
People like wrestling.
You can suck my fucking dick.
Papa Wheelie's expression on that as that's going is my favorite part of the intro. But guys, we're back. It's Thursday night. Sweet chin music. We've got Papa Wheelie and Biggie Shack as always, and I'm Becker. We're here to talk wrestling. Biggie Shack, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good. Glad to be back. Glad to see y'all. Wrestling's picking up a little bit, man. People are enjoying it. I'll tell you, they started a new channel called WCW, and it's just like a 10-hour loop of wrestling. And oh man, I've been enjoying it though. It's fun to watch. There's like 2,000 people in the chat, 1,000 people. Pretty fun.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So let's just jump right into it. A few things I wanted to talk about this week. You know, Monday Night Raw, Netflix, another sold out crowd, big, hot arena. And we've got Madison Square Garden, no less. And we've got CM Punk versus Seth Rollins in a steel cage. And I don't want to gloss over the whole match, but oh heck, did we have a run-in? Roman Reigns interferes in the outcome, pulls Rollins out for Rollins to win, beats him up. And then while CM Punk is being consoled and checked on by Paul Heyman, Roman gets jealous and lights him up too. What did you think, Biggie?
It's been kind of like a mad dash for people that want to get a CM Punk match as of late, what it looks like. But yeah, a little weird seeing Roman do the rush in. I think, I don't know. Usually people are rushing in for him, right?
Yeah, and does this mean we're going to have a three-way for WrestleMania, do you think? Will it be Punk, Rollins, and Roman? And will Paul Heyman be involved? And it's, even though there's not a world title involved, you've got to admit that's got a big match feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah. We got a lot of pieces to play with now that but Cena has kind of threw his hat in. Not really The Rock, but I mean, he's a wild card. And then Rollins, he's wanting in. Seems like Punk's definitely going to have to be a piece, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, you've got a lot of star power going into WrestleMania. Like, the fact is, like, the first match of the night could still involve people like AJ Styles. You know what I mean? Like, it's from beginning to end, I think they're all going to feel like they matter. And part of where I'm going with this is I caught some clips of AEW's pay-per-view, Revolution on Sunday. And man, even with them highlighting, like the highlights they released and packaged, that stuff with Edge and, Cope and John Moxley, Biggie, it didn't even look like it would be like a U.S. title match. Like, it just looked meaningless. The crowd wasn't as hot as like a WWE crowd. It kind of like when Moxley won, you could hear the crowd groan.
Yeah.
And
hard to defend AEW.
Involved. Like, Christian got involved and messed it up for Edge. Like, does anybody still care about Edge versus Christian?
Nah, absolutely not. Nah. I don't think so.
Yeah, it was just it didn't look good, but I have good news, Biggie. We have an AEW debut Wednesday night this week. It just happened. It was huge. You know who it was? Speedball Mike Bailey is all elite, baby.
I like the nickname. I'm not familiar with the character though.
That's why I started following him. But give him a look. I mean, he's a little undersized, but if you like the indie style, like big high spots, he's one of those guys.
Nice.
He doesn't wear shoes.
Okay.
And he's known for his kicking.
Oh, cool. All right. Sounds like a ninja.
Yeah, he kind of is, but I mean, if I was to compare him in looks to anybody, he looks like Dominic Mysterio if you aged him up a bit and gave him a few more, like a little bit of a physique. If he wasn't such a string bean. Did I lose you guys?
No, I'm right here. I'm getting my plate.
Oh, right on, man. So anyway, yeah, I know, Pop. Yeah, I knew you were gonna say something about AEW. Listen, I dog him a lot. I liked seeing that Speedball Mike Bailey was signed with him.
Not right now. Yeah, I enjoyed.
What was that, Big? He enjoyed. Oh, we might have lost Biggie. That's fine, Pop. You chill out. I know how you feel about AEW. If you want to type something up, I don't think we still have anybody in the chat yet tonight, so we might call this one at the half-hour mark today. But I did want to talk about AEW's pay-per-view didn't look great. I know Dr. Von Hoot was saying he really enjoyed it and that it was banger after banger, but it does feel minor league. Hey, oh, there's Biggie.
Yeah, get rid of the first one, please. Somehow I got disconnected. There we go.
Oh, good.
Is that better?
Yeah, much better.
Let me show the nobody in the chat my plate real quick. All right, here we go. Oops.
Oh, dang. Corn and is that steak?
Corn, steak, potato.
God dang, Biggie Shaq's eating good tonight.
Yeah, I need to cut it out. I need to be on a diet, but shit.
Well, I thought
at least it ain't like frozen food.
I thought you were looking like you were losing a few pounds to me.
I was, but it feels like it came back. I felt swollen, you know?
Well, you know, for us that circle the diabetes, you know, that sugar, it hurts you, man. The inflammation you get from it. But
so yeah, I was saying the chick match with the glass on the fists. I'm sure you're aware of it.
Yeah, you know how I felt about that.
You didn't like it?
Oh, I hate that stuff. I don't.
Oh, you hate that shit? Oh yeah.
I don't want to watch girls mark each other up like that and wear masks of blood. Did you like it?
Yeah, they don't need to do it, but it was kind of funny. I mean, it was a little funny. Okay, how about the MJF nut punch? How'd you like that? Did you see that?
I did, and I saw Hangman beat him. And boy,
oh man, you wanna? I mean, he's just setting himself up for failure, dude. Ever since that, what was it? The guy that now he's a freaking New Orleans guy, Saint.
Ricky Saints, yeah.
Yeah, ever since Ricky Saint kind of ran his number and said, with your wrinkly ass, tight ass shirts and your Walmart Dockers, and he just never recovered, dude. Like he's not the same. I told you motherfuckers from the beginning, MJF ain't that dude.
I was about to tell you something, Biggie. Tomorrow is National Pie Day because of that 3.14 number. So March 14th is National Pie Day. But tonight I'm going to eat humble pie because 2 years ago I got into, not like an argument. We weren't like mad at each other, but you and I went back and forth about MJF. And I got to admit, you're right. He doesn't mean anything right now. And I thought he was the future of wrestling. I thought he was the second coming of Roddy Piper. I said all of that, and I was wrong.
Yeah, bro. It was clear
Biggie,
as
you
fuck
were
to me.
right. I can admit it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the crazy thing is like he's gotten bigger. Maybe the steroids like fried his brain, but he is so bad.
This is rotten. Like the last few years for him have just gotten worse. And yeah, I get it, Pop. The booking is to blame for a lot of it, but he allowed
Still.
himself to do some stupid things. Like, okay, I know he emulated himself off of Roddy Piper, like he wanted to be a Piper type of promo. Do you think Piper would have ever allowed himself to be involved in things like double clotheslines and kangaroo kicks and,
Hell no.
playing video games and going to Chinese restaurants with your best buddy? Like, he would have never done that lame shit. He would have made fun of people for doing it.
Yeah, I'd still think he's a Miz knockoff more than Rowdy, but he could say Rowdy if he wants. That's cool.
Well, now it definitely feels like it. You know, a few years back, he had the heat. He had the crowd booing him and loving him at the same time.
Hmm.
And that's where I always thought the Roddy part came in, is like Piper was a heel, but there were people who liked him, even though he was a dirty player.
Yeah.
Miz is underrated. You know what? Honestly, I go back and forth on the Miz, and right now I'm back to thinking he's just kind of a company stooge.
He really is. Yeah, he's not. He's he's a baby face because he's with R-Truth. You know, if he wasn't with R-Truth,
well, he betrayed him.
Okay, I didn't know that. Good.
He's a villain again, but it doesn't mean anything. Like, he's just there. He's a company man. You know what I mean? He's always been the guy that'll do whatever they ask. And as such, like, to me, he kind of reminds me of the Road Dogg, where he was probably a mid-carder, but sometimes he would get into positions where he got like to be on the top of the card because of the fact that he was like in with the right people and a company man. And then like when he couldn't wrestle anymore, they gave him a job in the back. I'm sure Miz will be that guy. Like, I'm sure Miz will end up working in production at some point.
That's sad because he has a lot of potential. Yes,
he did, but I don't know. I never thought he was a top promo. I know there are people that think he is, but I can't recall a whole lot of Miz promos where I was like, "Oh shit, he just tore that up."
The one with Daniel Bryan, he tore the fucking roof off, dude. That was pretty good. He tore Daniel Bryan a new asshole. You don't remember that one?
I do.
What about
okay. At the time? I do think I popped for that.
That was pretty good. Yeah. He's had some good ones with Cena. He's had some good ones, I think, with Punk. So it's not like I've ever seen Miz like get owned on the mic. So that's kind of why I think he's all right.
I think he works best with Punk. All right, Pop, you go, buddy.
Paul Heyman turns on Roman at WrestleMania.
Okay.
Really? Good. I was wondering if Paul would turn on CM Punk.
Maybe.
Yeah. I definitely think he'll be involved. I'm just really
glad
surprised.
I'm just glad Roman's out of the main light because he really isn't that good to me. Like, he's all right.
I mean, he works well right now because there are so many stars. Like, you've got John Cena running around doing stuff. You got The Rock involved in the behind the scenes. You know, you've got CM Punk. You've got who's the other world champion? Cody and Gunther. Like, Drew McIntyre, Logan Paul. When you combine all this together, they're moving more merch than ever. They're making more money off of tickets than ever. Kansas City just announced a Monday Night Raw the week after the Monday after WrestleMania. And I was looking at tickets going on sale. One, it's almost sold out already. And when it did go on sale, like nosebleeds, Biggie, nosebleeds, $85 a pop, and they sold out in 10 minutes.
I mean, that's compared to what though? Like $1,000 or some shit? Like,
yeah, so down in the front row is $2,000 a seat. And those are almost sold out.
No, I'm saying like it's coming off of Mania. A Mania nosebleeds like what, 800?
Biggie, when I went to WrestleMania in 2006, maybe 2005 or 2006. Yeah, 2006 Mania. I paid $100 a ticket.
Wow.
And now, $85 for nosebleeds at a Monday Night Raw.
Okay, well, I guess we got Triple H to thank for that, or UFC owners. I don't know who we blame. Who do we blame?
Well, I don't know if I blame anybody. If they're selling them, it means people are buying them. Now, I wonder with the economy, not that I want to get into any of that talk, but if times start getting rougher for people, you know, one of the first things to go are going to be luxuries like going to wrestling shows. Yeah. But I mean, they're selling them right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about Shinsuke likely leaving? I wonder if he'll go AEW.
Good for him. I don't know. They weren't working in the big place though.
No, he looks 15 years older than he actually is. He's my age. Remember, we looked up his age. He's like my age, and he looks 60. And that scuba suit he wears is doing him no favors.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that need the intro to pop hard for him, and it just stopped. You know, like nobody cares.
Yeah. Sadly, he's one of those guys I think is just a victim of there's so many stars. Now, he found a niche for a while there when they didn't have the star power they have now. Randy Orton, there's another name I haven't mentioned. Randy Orton, big star.
Yeah, a lot of pieces. Hey, Beckerman, what do you think about the Hall of Fame? You remember how I was so up in arms about other wrestlers not being in the Hall of Fame, and then surprise,
those wrestlers got named. Well, and then didn't they just name the natural disasters too?
Oh, did they? Good.
Yeah, Tenta's getting in, dude.
Wow.
Wasn't he one you named specifically?
Maybe. Yeah, I might have.
I'm 90% sure.
Yeah, it was a lot of big guys I was naming, so that makes sense. But one man gang specifically. I should have brought up Tipton more.
Old Crusher Broomfield.
Yeah, as soon as I found out Lex wasn't in, it was like the next day he was nominated. Like
he really was, yeah.
Yeah, it was so weird.
Hey to Thomas O'Donnell Comics. And Thomas, just so you know, if you ever want to join us on here, because I noticed you've been popping into the chat, Papa Wheelie can always send you the link, and you're more than welcome to join us. And if not tonight, maybe some other time. If you want to talk some wrestling with us.
Yeah, so you were mentioning like Luger. Okay, we can talk Lex Luger. Yeah, so they're saying they want Sting to bring him in. You know who the other guy was? They were saying that might not bring him in, right?
Would it be DDP just because of the?
It would be DDP. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's been helping him with the yoga. But DDP's already inducted somebody. I would rather see Sting do it. But I don't know if he will. I don't know if he will just because, I think he still gets appearance money from Tony Khan. So maybe he isn't able to. I don't know.
I didn't think of that. Yeah. Oh, I've seen where Lex says he wants Sting. I feel like DDP just recently started fucking with Lex too, like maybe 3 months ago, 4. So it's fairly new that Lex Luger's been with DDP, you know. So Sting
Yeah,
is
man.
definitely the one I would think of to if I
It
could
should be
pick
a
a person.
WCW guy, and WWE wants Sting to induct him. Well, then I hope I hope they make it happen.
Yeah.
Lex Luger. What else did I want to say about him? You know, he's been on the redemption tour for a while now. When I know there was a viral clip going around where some announcer from WCW was tarnishing him and like, well, he was an asshole back in the day. All I've got to say is, I do feel Lex is somebody that life has kind of humbled. And every time I see him interviewed now, he just seems grateful for his fans and grateful to be alive. And
Yeah, always about
positive.
Jesus and
Yeah. Well, and he's
Christianity.
learning DDP's helping him walk again and get out of that wheelchair. Like, man, I ain't got nothing but I'm good with Lex. Like,
I'm tired of
I wish
giving
him
these
the
old
best.
guys a hard time. Yeah, I'm sick of giving people a hard time for what they did in the past. I know he had the whole thing with Liz, and I mean,
Well,
what the hell can we do?
and he was a dick in the late 80s and early 90s. And he even admits he was. He admits he was arrogant and a jerk. You know what? If I looked like that, I'd have probably treated people like crap too.
Yeah. Yeah, he had to live up to the name the narcissist at one point, so it probably made sense.
Was there I know in hindsight, like people who were older, like older wrestling fans, like to crap on this moment. But when Lex Luger body slammed Yokozuna on that battleship, as a kid, that was like the greatest thing I ever saw. Like I mean, this was huge. Like I felt like America won, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, you remember that time. It's like in the back of your mind, you're kind of thinking the only person who could do it's the Hulkster, you know? And it wasn't Hulk. It was fucking Lex. Even Macho Man tried, if you think about it. Like, so Hulk Hogan was definitely like thought of. I'm not just talking shit. Like, this is just the way it was. And for Lex to do it, like he brought on that red, white, and blue. And truth be told, like I've heard Lex tell the story. That was all Yoko. Lex said he had on boots, and when he got in his face, he was like whispering to Yoko, and he said, I ain't got no grip, Yoko. I can't do it." And Yoko says, "I got your butt, no problem." And that was all Yoko, dude.
Slammed himself. Yeah, I get that, but for a kid, I didn't understand that. I saw this terrible foreign menace, this mean sumo wrestler who was beating up all the guys I liked. Finally got what he had coming to him on a battleship. Like everything just felt like cool. And then you look back on it and it's like, wow, that really wasn't for anything else than just like he did it for America, but like there was no belt involved, and he just slammed him, and we all like went nuts.
I don't know if there's ever been a bigger push for a wrestler, dude. I don't think anybody's ever had that big of a push.
I mean, they tried to make it feel big. The Lex Express, remember that bus he was riding around in?
Yeah, I mean, just the battleship slam by itself. Whenever we ever got a push like that, I can't think of anything, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's his biggest moment of his career, I think, which is funny because this guy has held titles at different times. But that moment, like that felt like the tippy top of Lex's popularity.
Yeah.
It was just cool. The imagery to it was cool, defending the United States.
Did he ever do the red, white, and blue before that? I don't think he did.
No, I don't think he was. I think it was just during that run.
Oh.
And then later you had WCW, The Return, and hey, Boston Chris.
Hey, nice.
Talking about Lex Luger.
So I'm gonna name off my favorite
Luger.
Lex Luger, I believe, match, and it was the Steiners versus Lex and Sting, and they were going for the World Tag Team Championships, and Lex and Sting actually beat them. They had like a video vignette before the match, and it was done really well for as early as it was. But besides that, like whenever Lex won the World Championship off of the Giant or Hogan, I know it was Hogan, and he put him in the rack, and he had to rack the whole NWO. Those are probably my two best Lex Luger memories. You guys got one?
Oh, I have one that I love.
Well, I gave you the Battleship. The Battleship is my, like, as a kid, it blew my mind. Like, I remember watching the news that night and being like,
yeah, it was on.
Why is this not on the, like, why is this not a bigger deal? Why isn't 60 Minutes covering this? Lex Luger defended America, damn it.
Well, you know what was funny about that was that he was a bad guy at that point too. He was still the narcissist. He didn't quite turn into the American hero yet. And then he jumped on the Battleship, and because Yokozuna was, squashing people left and right, like, people try to pick him up, and he would, punch him in the ribs or whatever, and then he came on and did it, and the whole place went nuts. It was on the USS Intrepid. I remember that. My favorite, I would say, Lex Luger moment. Doesn't put him in the best light just because it's kind of a fun one though. Like if you it's I forget the show it was on. It's not on any of the WWE stuff, so they don't have that. They kind of buried it. But hold on.
Well, while we wait for that pop, are you typing out your favorite Lex moment? Best match the Steiners had was with the Outrunners 1989. Sadly, no footage exists.
So this does exist. You can find it. And he had a match in a steel cage with Bruiser Brody.
That's a good one, Chris, dude.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
I've seen this story.
As he's going through it, like he's doing his thing, and all of a sudden Brody just stops selling. And you see this whole look of just fear come over his face, and he hits him a couple more times, and
then he runs out of that cage.
He's not gonna do anything. He runs right out of the cage because he didn't know, and he's still kind of new, so he thought that he had done something wrong, and he just he wanted no part of Brody. That's my favorite moment with Lex Luger, is that he was smart enough to know that the star, one of the stars on the show was mad at him, and he knew enough to you know what. Not even going to deal with it. I'm just going to leave the ring. So good for Lex on that one. But I do. It is funny to watch him run out of the cage, though. It's hilarious.
Well, I don't know.
To
me, that was more Brody being a dick. But
I love Brody. Brody is the man. Or was the man. I'll say that as far as a good moment for him, I would say he had he did have actually a pretty good run as a heel. So definitely a good babyface run with tag team with Sting, and then as a heel, I want to say it was around the time that he had dropped the United States Championship, which he held for a long time too. He dropped that and became the world champion, and he had a bunch of really good feuds in a row. Like he had good feud with Sting, good feud with what's it called, Nikita Koloff. He did a really good job as a world champion in, I would say, early 90s. He was a pretty solid champion. So it's kind of strange that it didn't translate over in WWF, but he did do a good job. Like if you watch WCW, like NWA/WCW, in that I would say 89 to 92-ish, he was pretty decent, pretty strong champion.
Yeah, I got that was a joke, Thomas O'Donnell. The Outrunners is an AEW tag team. I'm aware they didn't time travel. Not to change the subject, but did you guys see the promos of Dr. D. David Schultz cut on Hogan and then Sergeant Slaughter?
Yeah,
These are
I
recent.
have.
No, I've seen,
No,
I've
they're
seen,
old.
I've seen a bunch of old ones. Dr. D, um, he was kind of a fun wrestler to watch in the way that like he was just kind of just a madman all the time. He was able to be
I
just
think he.
as he wanted to be.
I think he's talking about the one where he said Hulk Hogan went to San Francisco, and he was talking to sissies. You hear me, Gene? He was
Yeah.
talking to sissies.
No, he's like,
That's
I
the one
want
he's
a
talking about.
woman. He's like, what in the hell is wrong with you,
It
Gene?
was a
I said I
woman.
want a woman. Yeah. Because yeah, I mean, he just has busting out laughing like he couldn't keep his face. He's sitting there with his hand over his face with the microphone. He's like, "What's wrong with you, Gene?" Yeah, that was good.
I want a woman, not a man.
Yeah, Dr. D is also the guy who got very famous for slapping John Stossel. Because John Stossel said that wrestling's fake. He's like, "Does this feel fake?" And he smacked the hell out of him.
Yeah, not a lot of good it did his career.
No, it killed his career.
Nobody stood behind him. Well, at least Vince didn't. The boys all appreciated it, but it didn't pay his bills.
Yeah,
and he had to
it didn't
become a
pay
bounty
off.
hunter.
God, no.
Also,
What a fucking
I'm going to let you
dude.
go in a second, but if you're on the run from the law and the bounty hunter shows up at the hotel you're hiding at, and you look out the peephole and it's Schultz, do you just give yourself up and hope he doesn't hurt you?
Probably, just because I mean, honestly, like it was a show before for the most part. He's just doing his thing. Like there's no rules if he's a bounty hunter. He absolutely will go out and beat the hell out of you because he can.
I'm good. I'm going to jail that night.
Yeah, just like, you know what? Just
Nobody runs
hey,
from Schultz.
I saw everything you did to John Stossel. I want nothing to do with that. Take me away.
Take me away.
No,
Why didn't anyone?
The story? Sorry.
Oh,
go ahead, Papa.
Pop.
Why didn't NO1 mention Lex showing up on the first Nitro and Bobby Heenan introducing the narcissist?
First Nitro wasn't he wasn't really the big. I mean, he was a surprise. Like the bigger thing was Hogan kind of yelling at him. Like so it's just like he showed up and then they kind of like made it like, oh, like what's he doing here? And then Hogan really sold it up by being like, you know, like what's this guy doing here? He don't belong here. And then, you know, so
Yeah.
and
Yeah, I mean, it was a big deal. Pop's right, but it's not one of the biggest moments for Lex Luger.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would say if you're gonna talk about his return to WCW or anything happening from that point, I think Biggie's thing saying that him beating Hogan on Nitro for the title, it was big because that was like the first like time that anybody like lost. I mean, I lost like that for the NWO because like they were just running over everybody at that point.
I feel like just his body type and the way he looked in the ring really helped WCW a lot, dude. Because without him, it was a bunch of Russians and a bunch of flabby old guys. Like Lex really looked the part, at least. So very important to WCW.
He also the other thing that he did good at certain times, but then kind of like was a detriment to him is he used to oversell like crazy. So you hit him and you go, "Ow!" and he like scream and like jump 15 feet backwards because he got hit by something. So and so in certain cases, yeah, it made it look great, but in other cases it was like, oh, this is kind of silly. Tom O'Donnell says he thinks that Rick Rude had a better transition from WWF to WCW, which yes, because WCW gave him the chance to kind of, you know, actually work and be something. Like WWF tended to hold him down.
I got in here, Marty.
The story behind that, I guess, with Hogan not wanting to work with him was that I guess Warrior ran his mouth a little bit, and it got back to Rude, and Rude showed up in the dressing room and beat the hell out of him. I guess beat him up real bad, and Hogan, at that moment, after seeing what Warrior looked like after Rick Rude got done with him, he didn't want to work with him because he just didn't want to run foul of him and get beat up. But yeah, his career, it should have been bigger than it was. I mean, I think I think back on that sometimes, like he 100% would have been a great opponent for Hogan, especially like after the Warrior and everything like that, because him and the Warrior had done their thing enough. Him versus Hogan would have been fun because it's like, like you could play up Root as the strength. He's cocky and arrogant, and on top of that, he had Bobby Heenan managing him. It's like, I mean, another chance of Bobby Heenan to get revenge on Hulk Hogan, but instead they kind of gave his spot to Mr. Perfect, and even Mr. Perfect didn't quite get. I mean, he did do the thing where he stole the belt, but even he didn't really get over on Hogan all that much. He just kind of, was there to be another fall guy for Hogan, which sad for both those guys because those guys are both great. They easily could have, I think, won the championship. It just been a transitional thing. Same with Ted.
Well, Hogan did put him over at the end. Like he got one. I got one more thing I want to mark out about Lex Luger. Is he was one of the only wrestlers that could pull off like black Wranglers. So good funny. Point.
Yeah,
that's all I got.
Did anyone else find it weird when he went over to the Wolfpack? You know what I mean? Like here he was, because he was one of the flag bearers for WCW. during that early part.
That was a big deal, dude. Luger's a big deal.
I just kind of find it like, so he jumps over and then was like, well, Sting is definitely going to have to get over at some point, because I mean, first they kind of did the thing where the fake Sting and this and that, but then like when Luger kind of jumped over, I was like, oh really? Like Luger's jumping? It's a little strange. I feel like you were the embodiment of WCW, and now you're just jumping over and joining the bad guys. Huh? Okay.
I have a question before we move on from Lex Luger. Show of hands here, and I know Pop will not be involved in this, but show of hands. Who has put a friend or a family member into the torture rack?
Oh, I'll never forget this. I did it. So
you've never done it, Biggie? Oh, you're muted, bud.
Nope,
you're muted.
You muted your camera. You muted everything.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm more of a razor edge guy. I don't think I ever pulled the torture rack. Maybe once. I know I did the razor edge a million times.
My cousin Hans, who is now a judge in Iowa, like the 5th Judicial Circuit. So I can say I've put a judge up in the torture rack and gave him the bounce. I think I got in trouble for it too from my grandma. He's about 10 years younger than me. I was like in high school. He would have been like 5 or 6. It was perfect. Just an easy scoop up and torture rack.
So in high school, my friend Adam, he's like, put me in the torture rack. And so like we were in the gym on the stands, and I just picked him up and I had him up in it for a second or two. And then I was like, all right, here you go. Because then there's this like I just wasn't trying to drop him or anything like that, because he's like, no, you gotta do it. I was like, look, dude, you're slipping off my back, because he was kind of like not moving right, and so I was like, oh, I gotta put you back down. But I did get him up there.
Yeah, the smaller they were, it really did just like he was perfect to just go across my shoulders and
yeah,
the torture rack was probably. I think I power bombed him a few times, but the torture rack was just so easy.
I mean, it was a good move too. Like I actually didn't like when they changed his move. When he was in WWF, like it's like, oh, he has the screws in his elbow, and he did basically that like flying forearm thing. I was like, no, I was like, Lex Luger does the torture rack. Like what is this elbow or what's it called, the forearm thing? No. Torture rack and nothing. That's what I think killed him in the
top highlight. Thomas O'Donnell's comment, please. Yep, that's how you do it. That's how you do it, Thomas. Oh, we lost Biggie. Man.
Yeah, he's
right back. Can't hear. Yeah,
but yeah.
Oh man,
I'm surprised. Actually, I think it's funny enough, because we brought this up, I want to say the last week or the week before, and you were just like, yeah, he's probably not. So somebody made a comment like, Luger's probably not getting in because of, and then the next week, it's like, Lex Luger's going in.
Yeah, Biggie was talking about him. He gets in. Biggie Shaq's on a run right now. Big, can you hear us now?
Yeah. I heard.
There you are.
No, I got work. Night. I'm good, dog. Yeah, what's up? I'm on a tear from what?
Just being right about everything. The Lex Luger thing.
Yeah, I even heard. I remember. I don't know who said it, but they was like, oh, he'll never get in. What he did in the past. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah,
And,
no, I mean, it was back
was
in
it you, Becker? I'm sorry, man.
Yeah,
I'm wrong again.
Yeah, in fact, he
shit.
was like, you know what? He's like, the Miss Elizabeth stuff is probably what burned those bridges and this and that. And then next thing you know, like, you know, I mean, that Monday comes around, like, we went on a Lex Luger. And it was like,
you know what? You know why they? You know why they did it though, right, guys?
The DDP thing. I think DDP.
They know they're getting the heat off of Take, dude. They're getting the heat off of him because of Michelle McCool. It's so ridiculous to have her going in and all these like real wrestlers not making it. So to get the heat off of Take, like, all right, let's get Lex in. That's what I think. I knew something had to happen, dude.
Well,
I heard
let's
that was
talk
kind
about
of
the natural disasters getting in.
That's beautiful.
Cool. I'm glad they're getting in, just especially Earthquake, John Tenta. Like, John
Tenta should get in on his own too, though.
Absolutely.
I mean,
but it is cool to get old Tugger in there, man. I love Tugboat, dude.
I hated Tugboat. I couldn't stand.
Oh,
Tugboat.
I love him.
When he turned to Typhoon, he was cool. But when he was Tugboat, it was just so sad of a thing. You
remember? I think he got a really good rub off of Hogan whenever it was like Hogan and him were friends. I think he did that really well. That was like the peak of Tugboat, was whenever Hogan had his back and he had Hogan's back.
Well, yeah.
So I think he's good.
You know what was funny is that Tugboat actually solidifies the whole thing about Hogan being a bad tag team partner. Because oh yeah, well, the thing, like, I'm just saying, like, this is just a theory that kind of comes up when you look at everybody who tagged with Hogan. He kind of there's always some type of wrong moment where he kind of screws them over somehow, or he just treats them like shit. Started with Paul Orndorff, and then it just kept going. And then you know, so they had their they had this battle royal, and what's it called? Tugboat eliminates Hogan, and Hogan throws a fit. He's like, "What are you doing? How could you do this to me?" He's like, "It's every man for himself. What are you talking about?" And he pulls Tugboat out the same way he did with Psycho Sid, Sid Justice, who they were friends at the time. And you know, Hogan then went ahead and eliminated him too, just because he was jealous. He helped Ric Flair win the world title.
Well, I think they should put in John Tenta solo as well, though, because like his work as a single also warranted to me. Now, Shockmaster probably not getting in.
No.
By himself, but Tugboat and Typhoon and Earthquake. Do you have Jimmy Hart induct them?
I think
maybe.
Wasn't he their manager?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
He was the manager of the Natural Disasters. Didn't manage him to the title, but he was their manager in the beginning. And then I think the hot pot with I mean, if you put Tenta in his Earthquake on his own, perfectly fine. Because I mean, he came in and immediately feuded with all the big people right away. Like, he feuded with Warrior right off the bat.
He was great. And nobody said, you know, John Tenta is one of those guys where, like, even when they did his Dark Side of the Ring, there was no dark side to John Tenta. Like, everybody liked him. Nobody said a bad thing about him. Like, I don't know if I've ever heard anybody that had a problem with him.
No.
The only person I heard that he had an issue with was, and it was because of one thing that An said during that thing when they were doing the what was it, World War III?
The Horsemen versus the
and he said, look, he's like, you need professionals, not amateurs. And I guess that really pissed him off, because if you go back and you watch that, you see, like, as they're all leaving the ring, you see Gene talking to him, and Gene's like, "Hey, don't worry about it." Like Gene and Roddy Piper are trying to calm him down.
Yeah, Stevie Ray said that he was gonna kill him. Yeah.
I understand. He said he heard him. He's like, I hear him yelling and screaming this and that, and he's like, Tenta's mad. He's like, I closed the door and I walked the other way, because John Tenta was legit. Like, he was legit.
Yeah, he's a bad dude, bro.
Yeah. I think Arn would have been hard pressed to.
Well,
you know, Arn has a bad luck with these things.
Picking fights. So let's not leave out the fact that Tenta was a legit sumo wrestler too.
Sumo.
I think
American sumo.
He was so good at it that he like kind of got bored. He's like, I've done everything I need to do with this, so I'm gonna try something.
He reached Yokozuna level, I think.
Yeah, he was real like he was a good guy. It's sad. It's sad that, like, when you look back on some of his gimmicks, like that WCW just didn't know how to use him. You know, he was the shock. And
Oh,
the
dude,
like,
did you guys know that he had to redo his tattoo because his gimmick? Did y'all hear that one?
so he
Did,
had to go over it.
he had like a tiger on his chest, and he turned it into a shark or some shit, and then he switched it again.
Oh wow.
Oh God.
Oh yeah, yeah,
I do kind of remember what you're talking about, though.
Yeah.
But for a big man, that guy could move. Good, safe worker too. That's another thing. Like across the board, I've never heard him be like, people be like, "Oh, he potatoed me," or he dropped me on my head, or "Oh, he was a prick to deal with." None of that. Sweet guy, like was big into his family. Didn't like do anything. Wasn't one of the problem guys you had to worry about. He showed up, he worked, he went home to his family.
Yeah, and he was always in a
safe
good
worker, professional. So yeah, good for John Tenta. And I don't want to leave out Typhoon. Like
no,
that's cool too. I'm glad he's getting in. I'm glad he's alive to be able to enjoy it. But man, Tenta was one of the ones that I do feel like once they announced that, I was like, yeah, he needs to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. He should definitely be in.
Unfortunately, he's getting in at the same time as Michelle McCool. So
yeah. I heard.
I'll never let this go. Pop, I'm never gonna let it go. You cannot convince me she deserves this.
It takes the sting out of it, though. It does, like having more people get in.
Dude,
it takes.
Let me tell you something about her too. Like another thing that came up about her was that the LFG show, I guess, like Taker kind of
Taker got Mickey James fired. Have you heard about this, Biggie?
Yeah, it's just
I've been wanting to hear Biggie's opinion on this.
Yeah. No, I think you kind of told me that last week. Yeah, I believe it.
No, this just happened since the last episode.
Yeah.
No, really? Oh, great.
So LFG got optioned for a second season, and the rumor came out that Mickey James is off the show, and they're replacing her with Michelle McCool, and the Undertaker has addressed it, and he's like, "Hey, I didn't get Mickey James fired. I just said if they wanted me back for season 2 that they needed to hire Michelle too." Well, they got Mickey James fired because they have a limited budget, so they're not going to have apparently more than one girl trainer. And so Mickey James gets canned because Michelle McCool's husband is the Undertaker.
And
I saw someone talk about that. I didn't know what it meant, but now that you told me, that makes sense, because I was saying Taker's gonna. I was saying that a couple of weeks ago, like Taker isn't doing himself any favors the more he talks.
So what do you think, Biggie? I've been wanting to hear, because man, you had me rolling when you went off about her getting in the Hall of Fame, and now she's getting people fired.
I'm not surprised. Taker, I don't know how much longer it's going to be before people are going to have to tell him you're going to have to stop talking to people so candidly, because I think that he's more of a prick than what people think he is. I really do.
Boston Chris?
So here's the funny part with that. As much as you see them make, oh, like that sucks for her and everything like that. The really ironic part is that when Michelle McCool was doing her thing in WWE, and they were both in the same time, she was a part of the really like nastiest and probably meanest angle possible towards Mickey James. The whole Piggy James thing, when they sit there and call her fat and all the rest of that stuff, and put a pig nose on her on the like. So it is kind of funny where it's like this girl comes back in the picture way out of it, and who does she get fired? Her nemesis that she always made fun of and just talked shit to the whole time. It's kind of funny like that. Michelle McCool comes back and Mickey James is back getting trashed again, messed up.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of a gutless move on the Undertaker's part to be like, hey, I didn't get anybody fired. I just said I needed my wife added to it.
Yeah.
Well, what did you think was going to happen? A&E has a set budget for this stuff. They're going to look at who's the girl we have? Mickey James? All right. We're going to tell her we don't need her back, and we're going to take that money and give it to Michelle McCool.
Yeah, and the thing that's crazy too is that, like, of the two of them, I mean, as far as who do you want training the next generation of talent, somebody who's a legitimate good wrestler that's, you know, won championships in multiple companies, who actually has a great background to this, or somebody who kind of like just won the diva search and just looked good and then wrestled for a couple of years, got a push because she married the Undertaker and was dating him at the time, and then just kind of went away. You know what I mean? Like, it's like Michelle McCool can't really give them much, or as much as Mickey James can, as far as insight and training and everything
Mickey
else.
James is like legitimately one of the best female modern wrestlers. Like, she's in 100% in the conversation. She had a long storied career. She's actually a legend. So now it's legends, their wives, and future greats.
Yeah. And the other thing too that's crazy is that, like, you know, I mean, I kind of wonder now, and I know Nick Aldis is no WWE legend. However, if it was something like, I'm gonna walk, okay, then maybe Nick Aldis can host the show along with his wife, who is actually a legitimate legend, and like,
who is Mickey James? Nick Aldis.
Nick Aldis.
Apparently, the Undertaker has more stroke than Nick.
Of course, I mean, the Undertaker is pretty much he's
the ultimate. Yeah. The ultimate
built into the foundation
man.
of WWE at this point. Yeah. Like literally, I think Taker could get just about anybody fired, no matter who it was. I think if he really was like, I don't like this guy, like someone who was over and is doing, like someone like LA Knight. Let's say like he's just like, you know what, this LA Knight guy ain't working. Get rid of it. Like, I guarantee you, someone would be like, you know what, sorry LA Knight, it's just not working. You gotta go. Like, and it's just like, but he's over with the fans. Like, it doesn't matter. Taker said he has to go. He has to go.
Sometimes when these guys have power, you're afraid to say anything. Maybe now that there's a little downslide, more people will speak up about how shitty Taker was. He had a fucking iron claw grip on WWE for a long time. I'm just wondering, like, you know, what did he expect? Like, you got rid of the only chick there, and your fucking wife's coming. Anytime your wife is getting any kind of exposure, it's going to look like you're the one behind it. Absolutely. So everybody thought, oh no, she earned her spot in the Hall of Fame. Of course it was Taker. Now she's on this show. Of course it's Taker. You know, it's like, what does he expect? He's not that dumb, dude. He's not that dumb.
It's the same with her wrestling career too. Like she started dating him, and then she started winning championships. And then on top, what was it? The other thing that
you hear this, Papa? You hear this, Papa?
No, it's true. It's true. And the other thing too is, I remember she kind of caught some shit from AJ Styles, because at one point her finisher was kind of like the Styles Clash and this and that, and he was like, you know, and Taker took up for her. Like, oh, if you got something to say, you can come see me. I'm like, oh my god, like this guy's
well, the Undertaker. I think Biggie's right. He's flirting with like the crowd turning on him like The Rock. Because these are the kind of things The Rock did that made us all groan. Like his daughter running NXT, his cousin, the terrible wrestler, being pushed, Nia Jax. Now Undertaker's like forcing his wife into situations that maybe we wouldn't really care about. Yeah. Like, why would you replace somebody like Mickey James with somebody like Michelle McCool? Yeah. Why would you induct Michelle McCool into the Hall of Fame before so many, like, I can't even go through the list Biggie named, but it's a crazy amount of people. Like, and it makes it feel less. Like, hey, Lex Luger and John Tenta are getting into the WWE Hall of Fame. Oh, who else is going in with them? Well, Michelle McCool.
Right.
It really is kind of crazy when you think about it. It's just like, you know, like there's a lot of people who just don't have the distinction of being Hall of Famers. Meanwhile, they're just kind of giving her this just because. Hey, I mean, and if you're a Michelle McCool fan, which apparently Papa is, like, I'm sure you're going to be excited when you see her go out there. But for the most part, no one else. That's when people are like, yeah, I'm going to the bathroom. I don't need to hear this speech. Speech should be 16 seconds. Thank you. I want to thank my husband. Everyone have a good night.
Yeah, I hope he inducts her. So how much of this is Taker's fault, or is it Michelle McCool's fault? I feel like we wouldn't be hearing anything about her if she didn't want this. She wants this publicity. She wants this fame. It's all her.
I mean,
or it's the Undertaker, like, hey, if I'm gonna have to get flown out here and do this work, I'm bringing my wife with me.
Well, well,
why don't you pay her while you're at it?
Exactly.
I just feel like it's I feel like it's her, dude. It's like, okay, you're working in the back now. Why don't people think about me? I could just imagine like she's always on his ass about like, can you put me in a show? Can you do me to get me to do something? You know, that's what I'm
Do
thinking,
you
dude.
think now that there's a little stank on this that like people are kind of like, oh my god, the Undertaker's forcing his wife into something else? Are they dirty enough to have Mickey James induct her?
That's what I was gonna say.
Oh,
Could you imagine that? They'd be like, you know what, Mickey, go ahead.
Oh, we want to make it look like there's no bad blood here. Mickey, you induct her.
Yeah,
I want to point out. I want to point out one more thing about her. You know that she only had that belt for like 5 weeks, right? 5 or 6 weeks.
Yeah,
Okay.
She's not in a.
She wasn't good. No, like, I highly doubt they're gonna bring. I mean, they could bring in Layla, but like, why? Like I mean, I don't. I mean, she could do it. They could have her come in, sign like a 1-day contract. Hi, it's Layla L. We're gonna be late cool for 15 seconds.
Ugh.
But
Yeah, so she might have made one house show, one televised. That's it. It
Yeah,
didn't even matter.
she wasn't that good.
Oh, Thomas O'Donnell. The plastic arm Mae Young gave birth to is going to induct Michelle McCool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Undertaker's ponytail is going to induct Michelle McCool.
Last weekend I did go see Queen of the Ring.
How was
it good?
And, yeah. I liked it. You can wait till streaming though. It's good. Worth watching. Really good, solid movie. My boy Corny's in it. Plays the NWA commissioner. But the gal who plays Mae Young, I kind of laughed. But you know who I didn't see in it? I didn't see Moolah. And we thought Moolah was in it, but she ain't.
Yeah.
Not that I saw. Mae Young's featured in it. And then a non-wrestler plays her, but that gal was good. I liked her. Camille from AEW. Remember Mercedes Moné's Enforcer until Mercedes fired her?
Yeah, the muscle chick. Yeah.
We ain't seen her since.
Yeah.
She got a OF.
She steals the show.
Oh, okay.
She is so good. She plays June Byers, and man, I had to keep forgetting, I had to keep reminding myself that she wasn't actually hurting the actress playing Mildred Burke, because it looked good. That was my favorite part of the movie was the June Byers Mildred Burke feud. And I thought it was done really well. They did the Billy Wolf stuff pretty accurate to life. All the stuff he did to Mildred and why she never went, did anything about it, like trying to just get her money out of what she helped him build, what she built. I mean, yeah, it was a good movie. If you like old time wrestling stories and seeing wrestling's roots from the carnival days, it's definitely worth going to see. And then at the end, they match all the actors up with the people they play.
That's cool. I like that. Yeah, I think, is this another A24 movie?
It is not.
No? Okay. I was gonna say, because I mean, they did a good job with Iron Claw, and honestly, I didn't know if they had something more with it. All right, this is the company.
This is an Ash Avildsen movie, and his dad was the guy that made the original Karate Kid.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Which Martin Cove from Cobra Kai, like the leader of the Cobra Kai,
John
he's in it. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I was just curious if they were doing like kind of the offshoot wrestling movie type things, because I'd be honest with you, I actually do find that interesting that they're making movies about a lot of, I guess, the older generation and stuff like that, because it's cool. I actually like just the little bit that we got of Fritz Von Erich. I kind of wanted to see a Fritz Von Erich movie. I was like, that would be kind of cool to see more of him and his era and everything. So I do hope that they continue doing these wrestling biopics and continue to make these, just because they are pretty. I mean, I'm excited to see the Mildred Burke one, but I definitely liked Iron Claw, so I hope they continue doing these, because it just, I mean, I like, if you're listening, Karate Kid's son and the A24 people, Bruiser Brody movie. What are we doing? Let's go. We need a Bruiser Brody movie now.
Oh, you know who Martin Cove? I had to look it up. Al Haft.
Okay.
Al Haft he plays. But Gorgeous George is in it. So Naomi plays Ethel Johnson. That was pretty good. She wasn't featured heavily in it. The lady who plays Elvira Snodgrass was really good too. She's just some actress, but she was good. And Toni Storm. I knew Toni Storm was in the movie, but I saw her in almost a minute of a scene and then realized, holy shit, that's Toni Storm. That's what she looks like when she's not like being an idiot.
No.
Holy heck, she looks like a normal human being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she needs a lot of makeup to pull her gimmick off. You're right.
Yeah, she played Clara Mortensen, and she was great. I liked her in it too. The scene with Clara, Big League and Millie Burke, and double crossing her. She got the first match, the second match, the third match, and they're like, "All right, are we going to get ours now?" And they're like, "No, we're not going to do that. We're not dropping the title to you. We're the bigger name. We're the bigger draw." And Billy Wolf, goes, and this all really happened. Billy Wolf goes to Claire's managers and says, "Hey, you guys promised, like, we had a handshake agreement," and they beat him up. And so he comes back, and he comes back to Millie, and he's like, "They double crossed us. They're screwing us. Go out there, kick her ass. It's a shoot." And that scene is awesome. Like, great.
Sounds like it would be.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Check the movie out. I'm sorry if I spoiled that, but I mean, all of this actually you can Wikipedia any of this.
Yeah, no.
It's
that's like I look at that where it's just like, even with seeing the Iron Claw, like I was there. I was there with people that like clearly did not know that story of wrestling. So like every tragedy that happened, like this poor guy that was like sitting like 2 rows in front of me, he's like, "Oh no." By the end of it, he's sitting there, and the cat's just tears streaming out his face. He's like, "Jesus Christ!" Like he couldn't take like all the sad things that happened in a row. It broke him. It broke him over the course of the movie. He just felt like so terrible. And I almost want to turn to his friend, because I feel like his friend knew everything that was going on. It's like, "You're a terrible friend. You should at least prepare him for a little bit of this." Like, poor kid's
it's gonna be
now.
really sad. And they actually left sad stuff out. They left a brother out.
Yep. Well, they combined them. They combined, Chris and Michael together.
Did they? Yeah.
Michael,
okay.
Because they basically were like, "Oh, he has the brittle bones and this and that," so that he broke his arm. But then, they just, I mean, it was a good movie. And it was like I said, like I think these are kind of cool that they're doing these type of movies. So I hope to see more of them. I really do.
Yeah. Hey, when it comes to streaming, I recommend you put the time in. It was a little long. My wife went with me, and she was kind of like, I liked it, but my wife's got a set clock for how long she can stay with a movie at once. Like when she watches movies at home, she likes to pause them and go do stuff in between them. Like an average movie takes my wife like 6 hours to watch, and she'll clean the house while she does it.
Yeah. I could dig that. Did y'all see what Kevin Nash said about Logan Paul?
No. It came up on my YouTube. I didn't click on it. So what did he say, Big?
He said that he's basically a big mark, and you could tell the difference between guys that put time in the ring and guys that jumped on a trampoline.
Oh, interesting.
I can understand him saying.
Well, at this point, what? Logan Paul's had 10 matches, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks great. I mean, he pulls a couple moves. He talked about the moves he did. He's been trying to get CM Punk in a match, and he brought up how him and Scott would hear like people say, "Well, let's do it tonight," and they'd be like, "No, let's wait till Sunday because that's when we get paid to wrestle." you know, and it's kind of Logan Paul and CM Punk kind of just like, you know, cooked his ass because Punk just like ignored him, and you can't even hardly recognize Logan Paul's intro music when they play it, because I mean he just kind of showed up out of nowhere, and he hasn't been putting in a bunch of work lately, you know, and I can see what Nash is saying.
He's a big star, though. He's got the star power, and his match with Ricochet was awesome. I thought his match with Roman Reigns was really solid too at Crown Jewel like 2 years ago.
Yeah. He's, I would say, like extremely athletic, which is good in that way, because it can cover up for some of him not being as seasoned as people.
Well, his match with Rey Mysterio Jr., Nash also said that they had a couple botches, and he sure wasn't Rey's fault. So you gotta.
I get it wasn't Rey's fault, but Rey was about to land on his head, and Logan caught him. So.
No, it was last week, not that one.
Oh, okay.
They had another match. Yeah.
Okay, well, in the past, there is a moment where Rey almost beat the mat, and it was his fault. He shorted a moonsault, and Logan Paul saved it.
Right.
So we can give him.
You give him that much, he saved that move.
Yeah, like I'm not a fan of Logan Paul in terms of, you know, him being, you know, just a great wrestler, but I think he's definitely serviceable. He's definitely he can definitely be in the ring and pull off spots and not have, you know, like not 5-star matches, but he can do all right. Like I don't think he's
green as fuck, and he don't know the business, but he does know how to do moves like you would do in a trampoline, where you do spins and fucking corkscrews and shit. So
I mean,
you got to put it in perspective.
He's not a pro. He's not a seasoned vet, and he never will be, because he's a celebrity.
Yeah. And that's all he's really there for. Like you kind of have to give him some credit, where it's just like, you know, he knows his role. Like he's just there to.
He's had some good matches. Yeah, he's learning very quick. It's at a quick clip. So yeah.
And I know it's a high spot, which kind of proves your point about being a trampoline cowboy. But him and Ricochet going from across the ring at each other.
Oh yeah, that was great.
That's athletic as hell, man.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, he's not bad for the business, but I'm just saying, like, he's a bit of a mark. That's all I was trying to point out. It's a big difference between him and like a guy that's been in the Indies or a different place for 5-10 years and get to the big time. You know, like he just showed up.
Ricochet was in WWE for almost 8 years, and one of the biggest pops he ever got in the ring was with Logan Paul.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy. You're got a good point.
Yeah, well, the thing that I'll say too is that, like, you know, a lot of people will say, like a lot of criticism that people give to him, and will say like, oh well, you know, he didn't go to the Indies and this and that. But like, I mean, AJ Styles used to catch the same amount of shit for all the flips and everything that he used to do. He's doing way too much. He doesn't need to do it, and it's kind of an old man's mentality when it comes to wrestling, where it's like, you don't need to do all those flips and everything. Just, you know, this, you know, like just go ahead. Oh, the fact that people like it's a spot fest. You know, you did the finish about 6 times in this match. Like, let's go, let's get it over with. Like, so a lot of them really don't like that style because they can't.
Yeah, especially Kevin Nash. He's always been kind of making fun of those kind of guys. So yeah, I understand.
Well, yeah, Big Lazy, the ratings killer.
Yeah, he was the X Division champion, right? Remember, guys?
Yeah,
Kevin Nash.
But you know, the thing that's crazy too with it is that you know, and I wonder if maybe this is why they have such a like just I guess bad attitude to it, is because maybe it's just a harder style for them to work with, where it's just like I can't keep up with you. Like you're kind of making me look bad because I'm starting to gas out, and
it's a little fucking ridiculous. Like, get your shit in, but you don't have to be gymnastic. You know, like you can get the same kind of pop with just a simple move. You know.
You know, you can definitely tell the era of wrestling Logan Paul watched as a kid. I guarantee he grew up on the Hardys, and like he's having a great time right now. But yes, I do think some of the stuff he does is unnecessarily risky to himself and his opponent, and he could get just the same. He's great as a shit-eating heel, right? Like he can he can be the jerk because we all believe that he's probably arrogant in real life. We all believe that he thinks he's better than the rest of us because
Yeah.
he became a millionaire before he hit 18. Like,
Yeah.
boy, all you
Yeah,
have to do
maybe
is
I'm
talk
just
about
not
your life.
maybe I just want more of them, you know? Like, I don't know. I do think there's something funny. I think if anybody was smart, they would bring up the foam pit fucking shit in the wrestling. Like, I can't wait till somebody really shoots on them and uses that. It's funny that Nash said it first, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, it depends on who it would be and how you would kind of go
Probably
about
be
it.
Punk.
So,
It'll probably be Punk.
I mean,
Well,
but CM Punk was kind of flippy in the beginning too. Like he did a
no,
lot
he
of those
wasn't.
athletic moves.
He
A
was
little
the
bit.
It wasn't
opposite
like
of
that,
flippy.
no. Yeah, he
was
put a lot
bit.
of work in.
I think
Yeah,
you know who would be a good person to kind of bring that up about him, just because of the fact that he kind of presents himself as an old school and legitimate, you know, like Matt wrestler. As Gunther would be a great guy to put against him. It's just that, you know, heel versus heel kind of might not work the way you want it to.
Oh, I remember what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Real quick, just because we're gonna wrap it up here in a minute. It's getting late. Chad Gable and his
Oh,
luchador
yeah.
match.
Yeah.
Is everybody
What's
liking
what's
this as
the-
much as I do?
What's
Yeah,
the brother versus brother angle, though? Who's supposed to be his brother?
Ray Phoenix is coming in.
Oh.
That's what they've been talking about for luchas. So AEW has now granted Ray Phoenix the real life brother and tag team partner of Penta.
Yep.
And so
Okay.
a lot of people think Ray Phoenix will be showing up soon.
Oh.
And he's completely like out of his contract, so he can show up for WrestleMania. I think. Like, I don't think he has a 90-day non-compete.
I don't know if you need him at WrestleMania. It might diminish him to bring him in at this point because, like I said, it is chock full of stars. That'd be a guy I would save for like Backlash to make a pop there, because can you make WrestleMania any bigger than it already is?
No, but you know actually
With
where you could
with
put him in?
Ray Phoenix.
Yeah, well, the Raw after Mania that would be kind of a good one too if you could get him.
Well,
in
yeah, have him debut there, but have him do his first full match.
Oh yeah,
at
Backlash.
Backlash.
100%. Yes.
Push the PLE, because let's face it, WWE fans might know who Ray Phoenix is, but they're not Lucha Bros super fans. They haven't watched all of their stuff in Lucha Underground or AEW. Like,
what percentage of fans do you think know him, though? Because I didn't know. What percentage do you think? Like 50?
less than 50, but more than probably 25.
Yeah, just because I mean he's, and not to say that he doesn't, you know, that him and Penta haven't made great like matches over their careers or anything like that in other places. It's just that it's places that most WWE fans don't venture out to, where it's just like, you know, I'll just stay right in this little box. I don't have to kind of go that far.
WWE fans know WWE product, but look at they figured out Penta really fast, and they knew they were supposed to say Cero Miedo. Like they'll take direction. If you tell them Ray Phoenix is a big deal, they'll believe you.
Yeah.
And I'm good with it.
Yeah, it's just like how they jumped on with the War Raiders, like when they were the War, like, because they didn't know. I'm almost positive that not many people knew that they were the War Machine in New Japan. Then they came over, but as soon as they came over, like, oh, the people are chanting war with them, and just like they were out in New Japan. So it's just like, you know, they know, like people catch on to the gimmicks really quickly.
I mean, let's break it down into basics, okay? So Cody Rhodes is the champion right now, right?
Yes.
So ever since Cody got the belt, WWE is kind of fashioning the AEW style. So all these wrestlers coming in now, they're thinking, well, to be successful, we got to do all the high spots, kind of like AEW. I mean, Cody ain't exactly AEW style, but he's a little bit, you know. So I think that's part of it.
Yeah, I mean, well, because it's just, and the crazy part is that like him jumping ship, you know, really did, you know, kind of jumpstart a lot of guys now being like, oh, I can go over here, because a lot of, like, if it wasn't for everything kind of falling into place the way it did, you know, you wouldn't have anybody kind of moving over, because a lot of those guys probably wouldn't have got jobs in WWE as it stood prior to Cody basically breaking down that door for them.
I believe it's pronounced Ricky Saints, Thomas O'Donnell. Ricky Saints.
Yes. Yes.
But
that's kind
real
of
quick, guys. We've hit an hour and 15 minutes. I think we're going to wrap it up if you guys are good. Does anybody have any last stuff they want to talk wrestling about? Or we'll do Around the Horn. Boston Chris, where are you going to be? Oh, wait. Sorry, Biggie. You got something?
Well, I was just going to say, since Chris came in late, was there anything you want to talk about?
No. Just I think the biggest points we covered. So I don't have anything, wrestling related that I'm just kind of jumping at. Like I just kind of going with everything that was in. And I think that,
okay, cool.
Well, we thank you for coming in, man. And what do you got coming up?
So the Hunt Saturday, I am not. I think maybe tomorrow might be doing a little pop-up sale with Who Dat. I don't know. We'll have to see what his schedules looks like. But that's it. Hunt Saturday, Church Sunday with Bleak, and that's pretty much it for me.
Is Biggie Shack going to be on the Hunt Saturday?
I think so.
He has a big match.
Then I'll set my alarm.
Yeah, no, they did the contract signing, and then last week or the last show, Bleak wasn't there, but this time he's there. Like so they got a big one going. Like I'm actually excited to see it.
Well, at least they know what moves the needle. Biggie Shack. And speaking of Biggie Shack, what do you got for us?
So we did Tech 27 book club with that went over really well. There was a pretty good live chat going on that one. And TM's the new addition to the book club, and his pick for this week is of no surprise. We will be doing the first Animal Man.
I knew it.
Next week. And you can catch me on my 2 to 4 on the weekdays. I try to pop in there somewhere between 2 to 4, and I hang out and just talk shit. And Collector Club, I don't have a great plan right now, but I do think there will be a battle, and I'm going to introduce what I want to do is how when wrestlers come in, they do the whole they are coming from parts unknown or anywhere they want to be. Yeah, so we're going to have our own hometown representation every time we get in a battle now. I think that's what I'm going to do.
And apparently Bleecker Street Comics is also going to be in the match Biggie's in, but we know who the star is. Bleak, I love you. You're a nice guy. I'll be at church this weekend, but I wouldn't pay a dime to see a headline. Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
Well, at least I get one vote because Becker, believe it or not, he's probably going to have a lot of homers voting for him.
I'm sure, but I'm a Biggie Shack guy.
I'm going to need your help, man. I need all the votes I can get for sure. I'm just going to try to keep it close. We'll see what happens.
I'll be in the chat giving you that Bobby De La Ghetto push I gave him.
Nice. I appreciate that.
Pop, what do you got for us?
Michelle McCool deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and I'll be gaming and going on Mad Spidey and Bleakers.
Boo! Boo!
What a hill.
You can check me out on Tuesdays and maybe Bleeker's Church on Sundays if he lets me in after all the things I've said tonight. Yeah. Later, everybody.
See y'all.
Tuesday's Hucklebuck. Yeah, I think I covered everything. Oh, and then, there's other... You can find me other places if you look.
Right.
Oh, Beckerman, best new channel.
Right.
Hello, is it me you're looking for?
That's all, folks.